This season, I let the game come to me instead of trying to make a big play every time I touch the ball. This is Derrick Henry talking about the difference between this season and last season in terms of his psychology and what really held him back in the previous seasons compared to this one. So let's dive deep into what he said and try to understand it psychologically. Like, what is in terms of psychology can we use? What did he mean really, and what can we take, and what concepts we can really, psychological concepts we can implement here, whether you're an athlete or a regular person, because this is actually very deep, because a lot of times people, and I myself, I used to try to force situations in my life, and especially in my game when I used to play, and that is not just a good idea overall. There is this guy, and let's start by just talking about the general concept. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's a psychologist, and he wrote this book called Flow. It is so important for everyone to read it because it really applies to everyone, but especially for athletes. So most of us kind of experience this flow state of mind when you're really engaged in whatever you're doing. You're kind of feeling like you're losing yourself. This usually happens when the skill meets the challenge, right? And you need both in order to be in this flow state of mind. So what did he really mean by saying that quote that I've just said, right? He said, one part that I want to discuss here is that let the game come to me. So that to me just means that he is talking about this flow state of mind, right? This moment when everything just comes to you kind of effortlessly because you have this enough skill to do things, to deal with whatever you have, right? And everything just seems like natural, and you don't seem to, put too much effort, and really you don't feel like you struggle to get somewhere, wherever you need to get, and you don't need to, as I've said, really force anything. And the second part of this quote is, instead of trying to make a big play every time I touch the ball. And this is what I really first and foremost want to focus on. So what he is saying is that before he implemented this type of strategy, he was trying to make something happen, which is not like you're not supposed to. You should have your long-term and I don't know, even medium-term goals in your mind. But once you really focus too much on them, and once it becomes quote-unquote obsessive, it can really deter your game. It can really deter your confidence. And why is this happening? Because flow state of mind can only happen if you are present in the moment, if you are living in here and now. And I know it sounds so, I guess, basic. If you're interested in psychology, you probably have heard this concept a lot of times, and a lot of research papers are about this, like pretty much being in the present moment and living in the present moment right now in like psychological field is like almost cure all solution. But this is really important. When you are fixated on the goal that is gonna happen, on what you need to do like 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of you, or maybe the ultimate goal, the abstract concept that you're trying to achieve, like, I don't know, winning a Super Bowl or something like that, it really takes away from present moment. You cannot, by no means you cannot do what needs to be done right now, simply because there are different parts of our brain that are responsible for whatever we're doing. And thinking about future and the past and ruminating and just like focusing on future and the past, when you are thinking about it, usually what's called default mode network is responsible for that. And it really is usually it's just negative unless you are really like focused on what you want to achieve. I don't know if you're mind wandering, about the future and the past, what's responsible for that is called default mode network, and it's usually negative talk in your mind. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to fixate too much on the future. We don't want to overanalyze and have this analysis paralysis about the past, because it is not going to let us be in this flow state of mind. And that's basically what he did say in his interview, right? He did say exactly that he didn't say it, but that's how I'm trying to analyze what he said. So that's one very important thing. And I also want to say that Novak Djokovic also shared this idea that at some point in his career, he wanted so badly to become world #1 tennis player. Novak Djokovic is a tennis player, that he really lost all interest in tennis. It was all stressful. He didn't enjoy what he was doing, and he was really upset about it, and he talked to his team about it as well, because it just wasn't there. His love for the game all of a sudden disappeared, and that's what happens when you are fixated on this one thing, on the result, right? You should obviously want to achieve something, and you should have long-term goals, but it shouldn't be like the only thing you're thinking about, right? You should want it, but at the same time not too attached to the result. You should set yourself like mini goals, like very small goals, and really try to make them almost as small as possible, right? And to try to achieve every single one of it, and reward yourself, and not wait until that one big huge goal happens and then everyone is gonna applaud you and then you're gonna feel satisfied, right? You have to applaud yourself sometimes, not maybe in front of everyone else, but sometimes internally applaud yourself, and that's just gonna help you to be in this flow state of mind, because flow state of mind, as I've said, is really about this present moment. It's one of the things that I've already mentioned, and so that's what I want to talk about first. As I've said, it's so important to do what you love and do things because you love to do them. And one thing is when you just don't do what you love, right? But another thing is that happens when you stop loving what you do simply because you're overly attached to this big or even medium-sized goal, right? And it takes away from the present moment so much. So I've already said chunk it down. Another thing that really just drags you out of this flow state of mind is a fear of failure. If you've ever experienced this flow state of mind, you know that fear of failure is just the last thing on your mind. You're so focused on what you're doing, and you just practice this. You should practice this type of focus and concentration by using meditation, or just maybe trying to focus on 25 minutes on the one task that you're doing. Sometimes it could be 7 minutes, then you could improve to 25 minutes, but practice focus. And obviously once you're focused on something, there is no really space in your mind to fear failure or fear of anything overall. And why this happens, I'm not a neuroscientist, but as far as I understand, your prefrontal cortex is responsible for focusing on something willingly, right? And you either your prefrontal cortex works or default mode network works. So default mode network, as I've already said, is responsible for mind wandering, thinking about the past or the future. And when you are really focused on this present moment and what you're doing right this second, you don't have this fear of failure. You just don't experience it at all. And it just shouldn't be there. And I've basically explained how you kind of get rid of it, right? I overall talk about fear of failure in my other videos because sometimes it could be so intense that it overwhelms pretty much everything that you're doing, right? But in terms of if it's not that overwhelming, you're not just gonna feel it because you are so focused on something willingly, and your default mode network part of the brain is just not even gonna have a chance at working, at messing you up, right? Because your prefrontal cortex are gonna work at that time. Another thing that I kind of mentioned, but I want to talk about it a little bit in depth, right? So this flow state of mind, I've already mentioned that it happens when your skill meets the challenge, right? And there are different levels on which we can have skill and different levels of challenge, right? If the task that you're trying to perform is too challenging for you, then you're not going to experience flow state of mind, because once something is too challenging for you, you're just going to try to force, force something to happen, because you can't make it happen naturally because you don't have enough skill for it. And if you have so much skill, the challenge is simply not there, you don't feel it, then you're also not going to experience this flow state of mind. And so there is this kind of like a wall that happens in which you are going to experience flow state of mind. So basically, like here it would be not a wall, like a river. So here it would be a little bit of skill, a little bit of challenge, and a lot of skill, and here you're gonna have to use a lot of your skill, and it's gonna be a lot like more challenging, I guess, for you. So you have to be within that. Once in a while you should go outside of your comfort zone, really, and try to do things that are extra challenging for you. And obviously your first 5 years, whether you're in sport and whatever you're doing, you're not gonna experience flow state of mind at all, because first 5 years of whatever you're starting to do are so challenging. You're so out of your comfort zone because you've started something new. You just don't feel like it comes naturally to you. You're not going to be able to experience flow state of mind in whatever you're doing, right? You could experience a flow state of mind when you're socializing with people or even washing dishes, right? But if you've just started playing certain sport, whatever sport this is, you, for first 5 years, it's going to be struggle, rejection, and no, really, you're not gonna, as I've already said probably like 5 or 6 times, you're not gonna experience flow state of mind. I'm just gonna repeat that again, and it's important. Why do I keep repeating it? Because it's important to understand that if at the beginning you are not experiencing a lot of success, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're bad or not suited for this type of sport or whatever you chose to do, right? It just simply means that for everyone, almost everyone, first 5 years really suck, and then it starts becoming more and more fun gradually. Okay, so let's come back to this Derrick Henry guy. Let's come back to Derrick Henry. Very nice guy, probably, I don't know. Yeah, I'll know better because you googled probably Derrick Henry, right? If you're watching, or you're at least interested in Derrick Henry. Okay, yeah, last thing I probably should mention and want to mention is that you can experience more of this flow state of mind in your life as long as you practice it, as long as you as long as you really try to make it a goal, and it's just gonna help you enjoy your life more, you're gonna have a better focus. Your prefrontal cortex is literally gonna get bigger if you are experiencing the flow state of mind, which is the state of mind where you're highly focused and engaged on whatever you're doing. I really do recommend to read this book, and I wish Derrick Henry best of luck, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button and click the subscribe button. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Do not forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.